Hello and welcome to a different type of video I'm trying to do today. But so I wanted to kind of branch out and just try and do videos. And one thing I thought about doing was tier lists. And being a wrestling fan, especially with championship belts, I figured I'd do a tier list for specifically WWE championships. And before I begin, firstly, obviously, this is my opinion. So obviously, this is what I believe. Obviously, I'm going to have some choices that are probably not what anyone agrees with. And in fact, there are some choices I feel like are just downright probably ones that nobody would choose. But they're just what I'm going to choose, okay? Personal opinion. Secondly, in no way, shape, or form am I saying these titles look bad. Each of these titles have history, regardless of what popularity they were or even to today's things, how it's changed. We've all seen, I've seen most of these on TV growing up, and obviously, so don't take it as me putting ones in the low list as in saying, absolutely terrible. Like, I'm mainly putting these not so much in an order of what my favorites are, but mainly in an order of if I were to have a replica of them, like especially like not so much it's what I would have in a replica, but a lot of the top ones are going to be ones that I either have or want to get as replicas because they are, in my opinion, the better championships I want to collect. Back in the day when I used to buy cheap bootlegs all the time, like every single like couple months, I did it just because I was living a childhood dream of being able to buy these things, whereas I'm older now and wiser, and I really only try to buy ones that I can look at and think I can keep. There are some I have right now that I would gladly replace with real replicas, but regardless, that's just, I wanted to get that out of the way. And again, let me know what you think. Obviously, not many people will agree with this list, but obviously, to each their own, in my opinion. So we're just going to start off right off the bat with the big gold. Now, right off the bat, that'll be our first S tier because, in my opinion, it is just one of the most iconic. I know it started off not in WWE, but it's just one of those belts that it's so iconic. One of the best designs for a championship. Like, not just so much because it's just simple black and gold, but like the shape of the belt was, really good and it was bigger and it just was so great, in my opinion. Um, that's just to me though. Like a lot of people might have different history or different reasons for it, but yeah, Big Gold definitely is an S tier in my opinion. 24/7 title. Now people are going to be mad at me for this, but I am going to put this on A. I quite like the simplicity of the 24/7 championship. Now, mainly due to the fact that not only did I think it was an interesting title, but I have a big issue with championships just being blackstrap gold plating. And I'm not saying all of them are bad. There will be, I'll obviously show some examples coming up on why they're not what I think of that. Like the big gold is an example, but this one is more or less just I quite liked it, even though it was just a green belt, like green strap and green leg riding. I just, in my opinion, look, I've got it right here, just off camera, but it's just one of my favorite simple designs, and that's just how it's always going to be for me. I don't get that whole hating it just because it's not on the level of other championships. Of course, it's not. It's not even on the level of a hardcore championship, but. To me, it's just one of my favorites. So that's just again, that's why it's on the A list. It's not on the S tier list. Um, we have the I don't know, I can't remember what you would call this, but this was before the obvious this was before the network logo became on stuff. Um I'm gonna put this on I'm gonna have to go C for this one. I'm not sure. It's just I'm not gonna lie, and I'll show it with again with some other titles that look the same. I'm just not a huge fan of that look, especially just I don't know. It's just again, in my opinion, I'm not this one especially. I'm not saying the next one coming up is going to be even better, but it just in my opinion, I'm not a huge fan of when they changed it to just being a big W in the front. So That's going to be there. And of course, I'm going to put this one here as well, which again, I will admit it's a little bit of an improvement, but it's still just, I'm not a huge fan of the big W in the logo or in the center. Like, there could have been so much room for designs like this or other belts and just putting the WWE logo somewhere. Like what they've done with the current World Heavyweight Championship, which, I don't think is on this list. So this is a bit of an older list, and I apologize for that. But like that one to me is a lot better than these ones because it just looks so much better, despite it being just a fusion of the big gold and that. But again, um, we have the big eagle. I'm putting that as an A. Now, kind of recently, I've started liking this belt, not just because of its design. I like the globe in the center and stuff, but I specifically like the blue strapped version. And I know this isn't what this one is, but I'm still putting it there regardless because it's just in my opinion. The blue strap version was one of my favorites. And I quite like the design of it because, again, it's not, you've got the WWE, E or the Attitude Era logo there, but you still have a nice looking design for the rest of the plate. And, in my opinion, it's pretty good. Um, Next up is the Daniel Bryan WWE Championship, which I will put as a B. Now, I like gimmick wise, this is me talking gimmick wise. Gimmick wise, it was great. It was funny. It was very much a heel move, turning a custom championship into something eco friendly. Design wise, it's not too bad, in my opinion. Like, again, I know the idea of it is supposed to be wood, and I think they did great with it. And they really went in with it, especially with the fact that I believe it used Velcro straps, which a lot of people thought was interesting, and even I thought was. But yeah, again, I'm mainly choosing this here just because it's not my favorite, but it is better than these because of I like the idea of it, what it's supposed to be. Next is the Smoking Skull, which I will put as a B as well because again, it was given as a kind of custom version for Steve Austin, and again, it is great. It has the nice skull logo, smoking. It's got the WWE logo on, the forehead. It's not big in front and center. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of it. It's just me though. Like, I'm not. As you can see, I put the 24/7 title to higher. A lot of people are going to be mad at that already. This is just my opinion though, so just keep that as it is. So but yeah, again, for the idea of it, it fits Steve Austin very well. My desk is really wobbly, and I apologize. I keep knocking the table, and I can just see it wobble. But it's just, yeah, again, I understood the idea of it being a custom belt, and it did what it did. And I'm again, that's why I rank it higher than these two. That's just obviously for me. Next up is the spinner belt, which I am putting at a C. Now, obviously, people didn't like it to begin with, and it's become kind of a cult classic nowadays. But in my opinion, it's still just not my favorite. Not because of the spinning plate design, but just it feels way overly chunky. Like, in my opinion, like very plated. That's again just a me thing. I'm not saying it's a terrible, terrible belt. Personally, it's not my favorite. Like, I do admit the spinning gimmick is interesting, but I don't think I would ever consider just getting it for that. And again, like it's just a bit too different looking in my opinion. But again, not saying I hate it. Next up, we have the Winged Eagle, which is going to go at. Now, obviously, it is an iconic belt, so it should be at an S tier or A tier. But to me, I'm just going to put it at an A tier because again, it did what the Big Eagle did. It didn't put the logo front and center. It added its own little thing, and it's one of the more iconic Eagle belts, if that's the word you would use. So yeah, again, for what it did during its time, it did what it did, and I think it's one of the reasons why it's a good one. Um, just to lift it up a bit. I thought there was more tiers, but no. Next up is the cruiserweight title. Now, I'm going to, excuse me, I'm going to put that at an A because, and it's a bit, again, this is my personal list, but purple was one of my favorite colors. So when I saw this belt, it instantly took off to me. Um, Especially since back in the day when the cruiserweight tournament came up, I weighed a cruiserweight size, under a cruiserweight size, so I looked at that like, because back in the day I used to be thinner than what I am now. I'm not anymore. I'm almost triple digits, so I'm definitely nowhere near a cruiserweight anymore. But as far as design wise, this one is my favorite in general too because of the purple strap. I don't mind that they changed it to be a darker purple and they changed it to the NXT one, but in my opinion, this one's still always my favorite just because of that. So, and again, I just like the design of it. Like, it's a nice design, a nice shape, and it's just one of my favorites when it comes to that. So, next up is the Divas title, and I'm gonna also put that at a C because I get it. It was a title for the Divas. It was trying to up women's wrestling, but they went from having a women's championship to a Divas championship, and it wasn't a great design, in my opinion. It really just doesn't hit as hard as many of the women title designs, and it's just again nowhere near am I saying these are shit belts. I'm just saying personally was not a fan of them. So yeah, this is one that again, like I don't mind the design, but it didn't need a butterfly design. I think that's what I'm trying to get at. The European Championship. I obviously, didn't really grow up all watching these era, so and design wise, it's not too bad, but it's not near my favorite design. The only thing I would say I like about it is it adds a bit more color, like the blue and the red, and having the flags on the side. So again, I'm not dissing it. I'm just saying, you know, what it is. Next up is the hardcore title, and that's going right into the S rank because the hardcore title, not just gimmick wise, but it was just one of those things where it kind of revolutionized WWE at the time when they introduced it, and it's just one of the good title designs. Um, Obviously, the idea, with the belt, basically they stopped using it because I'm sorry, my nose. I had a shower and my hair falls out, and I feel like my nose tickles a bit too much. It's also why I shaved recently. But anyway, like yeah, the hardcore title, it was a good gimmick for what it did. It looked great, especially the story behind it, supposedly being um the winged eagle smashed up. The duct tape looked great. It for the era it came in, it was a good fit. And it's just one of those title designs that, yeah, my brother is a huge fan of this title design, and I can see why. Like, it's one of my favorites. Again, the 24/7 title, in my opinion, was a good title, despite it being like a light version of that, but this will always be one of the best, in my opinion. The current IC, I will put that at, I don't know. I mean, look, it would go up to an A if it didn't look black and gold. So I'm going to put it at a C, only because I've seen some of the custom versions people have made with the white strap, the blue globes colored in. That would put it up on the list. That would put it at A because it doesn't have that. I'm not saying it's a bad looking design title. It's a nice, interesting shape. It's just not one of my favorites. Seeing like you see all the colors in these titles, and then you just see black and gold, and it's just again, it's just my opinion. I'm not a huge fan. It would be up on the list if it were. Uh, One of the very earlier, I want to call this the Attitude Era Intercontinental. Might be wrong about that. Um, I'll put it at a B because it was a nice mid card title. The shape, it was small, but it was still one that was favored for, and a lot of my favorite wrestlers from that era won it. So I'm not saying it's worse looking than that. I'm just saying that one does have the color and it does feel a bit more. Ignore me, I am just kind of an old guy. I'm just not a huge fan of certain stuff. And look, if you're watching this far and you haven't rage clicked the video and disliked it already, then tops to you. Thank you for understanding the assignment. I just, in my opinion, I'm just, it's better, but it's not. You know what I mean. So next up is the black strapped IC, which is going to go here as well. Now, I'm not, again, not saying it's a bad design, just not my favorite combination of stuff. What is, however, is the white strap, which will go to an A because I believe it's one of the best ones just in the way it looked. It felt like a mid card title. It looked like a nice title, and it was so much different than a lot of the titles out there, and that's why it's one of my favorites. Um, One thing I noticed they did with Razor Ramon for his signature title that they did, whatever they call it, they had it with this design, but they had it changed to like purple with a purple strap that had his logos on it. I thought that was one of the best looking designs, and it's because it was based on this title, which I'm such a big fan of. So again, that's just my opinion. Don't knock it out like I think. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what I think. So next up is the light heavyweight. That is also going to go in C. Again, I never watched it a lot during this era, but just design wise, it feels like it could have had more. That's just me, in my opinion. I'm just saying. Next up, the first NXT Championship, which is going to be B, because it felt unique, very unique, despite being just black and gold. Just the way the title looks and how that's got the big X on it. I thought it was very unique, and it was one of those titles that obviously needed an upgrade, but for what it did good, and I'm quite proud of that. And which leads into this, which I'm obviously just going to put straight into the B tier because it was a nice. This was the upgrade that we needed, and that's why it is up one higher. That's just again my opinion. I'm sorry if not a lot of people like that. I'm just such a huge fan of it. Um, North American Championship to me, I'm putting that as an S tier because, again, for me, it's just a unique looking title. Personally, for me, I like it. I like the strap. I like how it's like a huge strap with, the nice little globe inside. It's got nice coloring. I think it was perfect. I think it was great. That's just me, though. But yeah, it's one of my favorites. And recently they announced a women's version, which is a white strap and kind of like a maroonish red on side. That kind of looks all right, and I will admit it does look kind of all right. This is always still going to be one of my favorites, in my opinion. We have the first NXT tag titles. I will put that at a C. Again, nice design, but black and gold, especially black on the nameplate and stuff. That's not a big thing for me. Um, Quickly moving on and just putting this right off the bat. The NXT tag titles were an upgrade, a very much good, nice upgrade, and that's why I'm putting them here because they just have such a good look, in my opinion. Just one of my favorite looks with the mixture of colors and it is just a copy from this title, but it's improved very much so. Um, the NXT UK Championship, I will put at a B. Now, now it was a better. It is just using the same design as the network logo and that, but design-wise, it was great. Now, yes, it is just black and gold, but it does have red in there, and it just fits so well. It looked very much like something with heritage, which is obviously what they were going for. Which is exactly where these are coming into. So the NXT UK Tag Championships are also going to be at B. Because, again, in my opinion, I love the design of it. It was just such a significant and nice design, and it worked very well with it, and that's why it's going to be there. Another one that's going to hit in the B slot is also the UK Women's Championship, which, again, same, just with a white strap and a white little thing in the shield. But again, it, in my opinion, was a good title, good look, and it fit well. Um, the NXT Women's Championship, I will put it a B because it's not the best, but it is a very much improvement from the Divas. It is still pink, but it still worked in my opinion. So I'll just shove that there. Um, I will also do the same with the normal NX no B I mean not B A. But yeah, again, improvement. It is still just that one, but it does increase it significantly with the silver added. And it's just again, it needed an upgrade, and that was the good upgrade. As short-lived as they were, the NXT Tag Championships I will also put at A. because not just for the fact that they are very much similar to the NXT one, but different and basically improved a little bit. But I was quite happy that it basically pushed the women's wrestling up in NXT for as long as it did. It is annoying that they kind of went low with it and said screw it, but it's interesting to me still, and it's just one that I'm very much proud of. Like I quite like the design, even though it's just the opposite and a smaller version of the men's. Next up is the Raw Tag Team Championships, which I will put at a B because they were very much improvement from the penny ones, as most people would call them down here. And it did differentiate them, but it is still just the same design. Just like I know they do that with the men's and the women's anything, but just yeah, it's one of those. It's all right. It did add something with the colors to it. I'm just going to put the SmackDown one. I'm going to skip a lot and just put the SmackDown here because that is also one that I consider the same. Um, the Raw Women's Championship, I will put that at a B because, again, very much an improvement on what I think of that, but I don't think it's near the tier that up there. The Raw Tag Team Championships from back then will be an A because, again, it felt like a nice improvement. You had, yes, the black and gold. It was a different little plate design, though, and it had red on it to signify it is from Raw, just as the SmackDown ones did for SmackDown, which is why I'm going to put them here because they did the same thing to me. And it just felt nice having championships that look different to each other, but we know they're from the same, class, whatever you'd call them. Same as the women's championship here. I'm just going to put that in a B slot because, again, it was a nice blue design. I did like it. It differentiated the two. However, obviously, they were the same design, so that's just, there. Undisputed Championship is going to be an A because despite being black and gold, and I've put black and gold titles on the bottom here lower, it felt like an upgrade. Like it was the unification of two titles, and it felt like a nice unification compared to the undisputed universal, which is literally just same as this, but they put a gold background on it. Like that's not to me a unification look. This was a very good unification look, and that's why I'm going to put it there. Um, the United States Championship, the older one, I will put at no, I'm going to put that at an A actually because it had a nice design for it, and I quite liked the idea. Like it felt unique, just like the IC and all that. It felt unique for what it did, and I think it did great. The newer one, I will put at a B only because I feel like it could use more. I'm not saying I think it is an improvement to this. Don't get me wrong. I just wish it had a little bit more to it because you kind of can't really see much else on. Like, I've seen some people do edits where they put like blue and red for like the flag on the background. That, in my opinion, would be an improvement to up it. But for now, that's just my opinion. That's where I'm putting it. Um, Now, the Universal, here's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it for this reason. So the blue one will go to A. Despite, again, I get it, it's just a different colored strap of this one. To me, that made it better because it wasn't black on gold, it was a color to it, especially with the red line. I thought it was a significant improvement. The red one, however, I will put at B because I think it not only is it the one that came before it, but it was a lesser one. I thought that was a definite upgrade to me. So that's why I'm going to put it there. That's just me, though, okay? I'm sorry if no one likes that, but that's just what I think. The Women's Championship, go to B. It is a very interesting design. It was a very small design, but it was unique. You went from this to this. How do you do that? Like, I'm sorry. Women's Tag Championships are an S rank to me. Design wise, they had hit the ballpark with this. They hit a home run. This was a great design. It's very unfortunate the division is not seen that well and they don't really feel like they know what they're doing with it. And the fact that they took wherever it is the NXT championships and merged it into this, just to get rid of them. I did not like that at all. But the titles itself were one of my favorite designs, favorite looks. Again, we heard there was going to be women's championships. They could have just given us a white strapped version of these, or a white on gold strap version of these. They didn't. They gave them a completely unique title, which to me looked very, very, very good. Next up is the world. Now, I'm going to put this at a B because as far as tag titles go, they're not that bad. However, my favorite variant of this is the one where it's got the silver background. That would have put it up another tier. But otherwise, this design's not too bad in general, but it's still just, meh to me, compared to like some of the other titles they've had. Last but not least is this one. And guess what? It'll be very first D. I did not like the combination they did here. Granted, it was a new design of tag titles. It was not a good new design of tag titles. These, again, very much improvement just because of change of colors. Black and copper were not a good color. That was just an awful, awful color. That's just to me, though, again. You see this list. So many people are going to be yelling at me for not putting certain ones somewhere, and that's fine. You want to tell me your opinion, that's cool. This is my opinion. Just as I may respect your opinion, I feel like I deserve a little respect for having my own opinion. That's just we're not sheep. We're allowed to think for ourselves. And again, I look at this list and I could change some things around, but I don't want to because I don't want to be that guy. But just from what I'm looking at now, it looks very much like what I like, in my head. Again, if there were versions of this that I had, like the blue version of that, I would put that higher. A lot of the silver on gold versions they've re-released as replicas, I would put them higher. That's just me though, and of course there are some that they're missing, like the world heavyweight, the undisputed universal. If the white strapped version of the NXT ones, if they had these here, I would be able to actually put them here too, but they do not. So unfortunately, that's just how I'm going to have to end it. But I just hope that this is a video that people look at and say, hey, like cool, this is what you did. I do want to do stuff like tier lists or just stuff like that a little more often instead of just recording wrestling videos and uploading or streaming a game once every month or doing less my own stuff and more collab stuff with other channels. Like, I just want to try and do more in this channel, and stuff like this is where I'm kind of steering towards. So, if you do like it, thank you. If you do want to see more like this, let me know. And I just hope that that's what you take. You don't take this as me shoving it in your face. You take it as, hey, this guy's uploaded something that he likes or he does. Cool, like you can compare it if you want, but I don't need people who come in waving pitchforks and torches like, oh no, you have to have it how I want it. What not anyone else or yourself want it. So you can fuck off with that shit. But just if you I don't know how to explain the ending here. If you agree, disagree, have some thoughts about this, gladly tell me. Understand it is my personal opinion. My personal opinion will be nowhere near as close as yours. And if you do like stuff like this, if you want to see more stuff like this, let me know, and I will gladly do some more. So, thank you for watching. Hopefully, I can do some more in the future. Let me know what you think, and I will see you whenever I do the next one.